Um, Now we come to a special part of our program where we have a proposal that the board considered and passed to create a new category of membership. And from the membership committee, Bob Mason's going to make this presentation. Bob?
Well, thank you, John. It's my honor to do this. So the board unanimously created two categories of a lifetime membership. One is to honor those people who make a significant financial contribution of $1,000 starting in 2021, and they will receive a lifetime membership. And the second category is honorary. And this is awarded to members who have made significant contributions of time, talent, and skills over an extended period of time. And I'm delighted to announce that the board voted unanimously to honor Charlie McCollester and Mike Stout with our first honorary lifetime memberships. Now, to kick off this particular section of today's meeting, tonight's meeting, annual meeting, it is our honor to introduce one of their friends for a few words recorded for this occasion. What an eminent friend, an American conscientious objector, Quaker, peace activist, and civil rights historian, professor, author, and lawyer, Staughton Lynd, aided and abetted by his lifetime partner, writer and lawyer, Alice Niles Lynd, exemplifies a lifetime of social justice work. Staughton and Alice's publications, teaching, and direct contributions to so many seminal progressive social movements are too numerous to mention. But here's just a few. Staughton served as director of the SNCC organized Freedom Summer in Mississippi in 1964. He was an outspoken opponent of the Vietnam War. He made a fact-finding trip to Hanoi in the height of the war. Turning to labor and community organizing in Chicago, Staughton and Alice both entered law school and became progressive lawyers to assist progressive movements, and eventually moved to Youngstown, Ohio to work for legal services, where they linked up with coalitions and activists fighting to retain manufacturing jobs at the mills that were shut down in the 70s and 80s. That's when Charlie and Mike and he made people's history, as Staughton now relates.
This is Staughton Lynd calling from Youngstown to celebrate the lives of the other two musketeers, Charlie and Mike. I've known both of them forever. Charlie, I first got to know when we were all living in the Chicago area, and he came into our lives at a time when my wife was disabled and helped us by taking our then infant daughter to see various things like the aquarium in Chicago. Mike, I have been involved in reading his new book and in countless encounters with the forces of evil along the way. So let me just say something about each of them and about this occasion and the three of us. I believe that we have been doing something quite difficult, which is seeking to hold up a vision, an image of a better society at a time when we were in retreat, when we were losing, when they shut down the mills in Youngstown, and then they shut down the mills in the Monongahela Valley. And it's not easy when you keep getting clobbered to cherish and develop a spirit of resistance and comradeship and vision of a better world. In Charlie's case, I see him as someone who forever reaching out to boundaries. Oh, well, you can't organize construction workers. oh, how do you imagine you could get people on both sides of the Vietnam War to come together and recognize each other's humanity? And Charlie has stuck with it. I see him as a post-labor struggles person, challenging the boundaries that have led us sometimes to feel, oh, you can't organize that person. He's part of a group that'll never come along. Charlie has said, no, let's keep trying. With Mike, the words, let's keep trying, hard to begin to describe it. The thing to recognize about Mike and about his new book as you read it is, on the one hand, he says he is a socialist. 40, 50 years ago, you couldn't say that in the United States. You felt you might get clobbered, lose your image of lifetime commitment. Now it's a question of what it means to say you're a socialist. But I think Mike has been a part of that, and I'm very grateful for it. But in addition, he has found this wonderful way of helping his fellow workers, namely using the contract, using the language that is contained with relevance to the idea of the contractual obligation to respect and conform with a well-established practice, even if it isn't a part of the written contract. If it's the way things have been done in that shop forever, they should respect them. So Mike would, of course, always take with him 2 steps in the grievance procedure, the aggrieved individual. Since, as I've said, we were so often on the defensive, it characteristically involved getting the properly paid benefit to which the person was entitled, despite the fact that he had lost his job. And what I think we share, not just with Mike and Charlie, but with a whole universe of human beings there in Pittsburgh, is the ability to make an honorable retreat. And I give you the example drawn from my own experience here in Youngstown. At a certain point, we went up to Cleveland and we made the case that U.S. Steel should not be allowed to close until there had been a full trial, whether they were legally permitted to do that. And it was outrageous. But how could we make our case? Well, Ramsey Clark, the former Attorney General, made our initial presentation. And he said, well, we have to start with the railroad strike of 1877. And an hour later, he was barely up to the steel strike in 1919. So the judge gently reminded him that we had something else before us that morning. And we were able to use this far-off history to suggest a spirit of struggle. The judge said, well, I'm going to grant the request for an injunction. I'm going to tell U.S. Steel it has to stay open until trial has been had. And within moments of his saying that, the rather young lawyer who'd been representing U.S. Steel was taken off the case. A person from Jones Day, the big conservative law firm, succeeded him. And he said, well, Judge, we'd like to obey your order, but we simply don't have the materials on hand to carry on production. The judge said, well, let me think about it. I want you both back here first thing tomorrow morning. We got back and there had arrived in my hand a list, an inventory of all the raw materials that U.S. Steel, in fact, did have on the property, all that were necessary to make steel for an indefinite period. And the corporation lawyer now representing U.S. Steel, said to me, "Where'd you get that?" And I turned to the representative of the local union. And I said, "Do you have any idea as to how we got a hold of this?" And he said, "I think it fell off a truck." He was telling the company to go jump out the window. And I just wanted to illustrate from Mike's experience, Charlie's experience, my experience, what I think is best experienced in American history by someone else, a fourth person, another comrade named Tom Paine. When fighting broke out between the American Revolutionary Forces and the British soldiers, the United States initially suffered one defeat after another. It got defeated in Long Island, it retreated to Manhattan. It got defeated in Manhattan, it retreated in New Jersey. It got defeated in New Jersey, and it seemed any rational observer would have said, this is over. These improvised soldiers of America are done for. Well, there was with those soldiers a writer who was said to have written what he wrote on a drumhead. And he said in the first of the so-called crisis pamphlets that this war was not being carried on by sunshine patriots and summer soldiers, that this was a spirit of continuing resistance that transcended a victory or a defeat on the battlefield. But how could you say that as your ragtag army retreated southward and southward across New Jersey? Well, as everyone knows, they crossed the Delaware, they won the war, this nation came into being. And I think that in honoring Charlie and Mike, you're dealing with two people who have kept that flame alive. And I want to join with them in saying thank you for all that you've done over the years.
Unmute.
Well, right here you see two beautiful depictions of Charlie and Mike and our own Bill Yund, who created the banners that hang in the pump house and many other materials that we have available when we have in-person programs, created these two posters.
Yeah.
So first I want to call on Charlie to make a few brief remarks, and then I'll turn it over to Mike. Charlie, are you there? Are you on?
Yeah, okay. Phew. I was extremely moving to hear Staughton speak, and also, of course, Bill Yund is such a beautiful person, and I really am grateful to all of you. I wanted just to say that the Battle of Homestead Foundation was organized in 1989 for the 1992 centennial. It's an organization of workers, sisters and brothers, with a public education mission, and it aspires to be a beloved community, what John Lewis and Staughton Lynd and Martin Luther King and many others have struggled to form beloved communities as the base of resistance. It was founded to remember and honor the hundreds of people in our region who died in the struggle for health, safety, and union rights in the workplace. And that struggle continues. Humankind faces a global political health crisis and the existential threat of climate change. And against us is the state of extreme economic inequality globally and nationally and locally that blocks all attempts to respond adequately to these crises. We need universal worker organization and democratic participation to address the protection, compensation, and dignity of all essential work. Labor rights, human rights, environmental rights have become the preconditions for human survival. The Battle of Homestead Foundation looks back and it studies history so it can see ahead more clearly. Come join us. Help us. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie, for giving us such an inspiring, really charge forward over the coming years. And now I want to turn things over to Mike and to honor Mike. And Mike, I believe you have a special way of providing your remarks.
First, I want to say thank you to everybody in this Solidarity Club. I love you all, and you're lucky this isn't live, because if this was live and we were in person, Bill Yun would be getting a big old smooching Italian kiss right on the cheek and a bear hug from me. This is what I'm all about. The count is down, the devil's in town, he's getting us one by one. We're losing ground, we're going down, each off on our own. Sparks will fly, good people will die, it's dark before the dawn. The fire will burn till we finally learn the way to right this wrong. One big union, gonna change the paradigm. One big union, on the streets and picket line. One big union, every craft and every trade. Break the chain, there's a world to gain. Man the barricades. As long as people of color are shot down in the street, some sister or some brothers chained in poverty, as long as we fill the jails with tales of hell and misery, at the very least there'll be no peace till we finally see one big union. Black, white, brown, and red, one big union. Like the IWW said, one big union. Like a rainbow in the sky. Sound the bell, it's time to rebel. People, it's do or die. The water's bad, the cows are mad, there's poison everywhere. On rural farms and city homes, we're breathing poison air. No place to run, no place to hide, might as well get it right. The answer for this cancer is when we all unite. One big union. This planet's all we got. One big union. Let's give it our best shot. One big union for a better world and birth. Hand in hand in every land, protecting Mother Earth. Now we're off in our little corners, fighting our little fights. The place is getting stormier, there's danger in our sights. On the brink, we're going extinct, we better open our eyes. The only way we'll win the day is when we realize one big union that's not afraid to fight. One big union standing for what's right. One big union. Let me hear you shout. They'll say we blew it if we don't do it. Time is running out. They'll say we blew it if we don't do it. Time is running out. We need one big union. I said we need one big union right now. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Yeah, Mike.
So I think I'm have to follow that.
Let me introduce you.
Okay.
To say. I'm so proud to be part of this organization, and especially tonight, because there is so much experience and talent and know-how. We can get things done. I really appreciate that. What an asset, Steffi, you are to our organization. You're a pioneering steel worker, you're a writer, historian, a filmmaker, an artist, a labor educator, a political activist, and you just did a wonderful slideshow together with Staughton's presentation for Mike. Thank you so much, Steph.
Thank you.
Why
All
should
right.
we join this organization, Steph?
Maybe I should join. Well, I did just join. I took this opportunity. I want to tell you that I'm here to make a fundraising pitch. I've been around the Battle of Homestead since there was the Battle of Homestead Foundation. When did we get together, Charlie? 1892. 1992. And Rosemary and Mike. And we've been fighting this fight for a long time to keep our understanding of history leading us into the future. And right now, recognizing this tremendous talent, the kinds of talent that we have in the room, to hold up Charlie and Mike as really heroes for us, and making a gift to them of lifetime membership. And we just need to recognize their creative, phenomenal work that these two guys have done. But I also want to recognize the phenomenal collection of people that we have right in this room right now. Whether we have Paul Laxton in Birmingham. I think we have someone from Germany. We were going to have Thorsten. I didn't see him on there, but we've got our friends all over the globe, and they recognize that the work that we are doing is exciting and important. And I want to invite you to join me as a lifetime member, because when I found out that we were giving lifetime memberships to Charlie and Mike, I thought, how can I best celebrate with them? How can I tell everyone on this call and everyone in the organization that I really value this organization, and I value the work we do, and I value the comradeship and the friendship and the work of our colleagues, everyone in this room. So I went ahead and I bought myself a lifetime membership. And I did it this year, partly because I'm still working. I will be retiring one of these days fairly soon, and I wanted to do it when I could still afford it. But I know that in this room we have some folks who can help us out. You saw the financial report. We were 10,000 short for this past year, and we did not get a grant that we were looking for the archives for this coming year, for the 21. And so we are officially in the hole. The donation from the AFL-CIO will go to a good way to helping us out. And I'm going to tell you that I was aiming to get $20,000 of commitments this evening. We can bring it down to 15, but that would help us to continue our archive work while we're fundraising and keeping this together. It will help us continue to keep our podcast on the air and give us the funds to probably do a few more of those Charlie's Monday markers, and help us defray some of the costs of making our new website and all this stuff that we're trying to do. If we want to attract the kind of foundation money that we need, we really need to step up as an organization and each of us kind of give it a chance. If you got some, I mean, I know we have half of our people here who are retirees, very limited income. And some folks are young and don't have a good income, but I'm talking to everyone. This is the time to reach in. This is the year we really need you to step up. And if you can't buy yourself a lifetime membership, we could use monthly donations. As Nathan has been pushing us, Nathan from the podcast has been saying people can give a monthly donation because $1,000 is a hard thing to come up with. But if you do it, by the month, it's only 82, 83. You can get that. You can get there in the course of the year. And this year, we desperately need your help. And thank you, Lawrence. Larry has put into the chat the membership form. If you haven't joined, please join. You can join. I think it's $30 a year, regular membership. We have a student membership, retiree membership. Again, we also want to encourage you to join the few of us who have taken out lifetime membership, or just make an extra donation this year to make sure that Sinead and her team, and Jackie and her team, and Charlie with the markers, and Nathan and Larry with the podcast can keep going. So yeah, this is to tide us over. And I was going to talk about the inflection point, because this is the word of 2020, 2021. We're at an inflection point in America, and we're at an inflection point here at the Battle of Homestead. So I just urge you to take a look at what you can do, take a look at the organizations you donate to, and help us out this year. Dig deep. We need you. Thanks. And back to John.
Thank you, Steffi. That was great. Okay, folks, go to the website, hit the donate button, or write us a check. The website will tell you how to do that too. I know many of you have already done that. Those of you that haven't, please do. Those of you that can do it again, please do that too. And thank you very much. And you know what? We're finishing just about on time, and it's great. It's been wonderful. I'm sorry that this is more of a webinar than it is a meeting, because we're talking at you, and I'm sure that you have things to say. We'll figure a way to do that more when we have chat rooms when we meet, and we'll try to structure our meetings where there's more participation. But we hope that you are motivated tonight to volunteer and to work together and to continue a lot of this good work that we've done. So on behalf of the board of directors, on behalf of all the wonderful volunteers that work tonight and the leaders of our committees and our officers and organization, I want to thank all of you for participating, and it says a lot about our organization that we have the respect of the leader of the labor movement, willing and interested in speaking to us. And we should take that for the responsibility that it conveys to us to be able to deliver as much as we can for equity and justice and building that movement in the future. So thanks everyone very much for being a part. Let me just remind everyone, all of our board members, look for the notices of our first quarter board meeting coming in February. You'll see an email on that soon. Join us. Volunteers are needed to host our Zoom meetings, also to assist in our website postings that we're planning that help to publicize our allies' important events and activities of all of our organizational allies, of which many of us are volunteers in. Come to our bi-monthly Battle of Homestead virtual Wednesday breakfast and our new evening dessert for informal sharing and event updates. Our next breakfast is on February 3rd at 9:30 a.m. and our first virtual dessert is scheduled for February 17th at 7 p.m. Get reminders and the link to those events on the BHF website. Everyone, reports given tonight will be available on paper by request to battleofhomestead@gmail.com if you like. Hope to see you all again. Thank you so much, Suzanne, and all of our committee chairs and officers. And thanks for sticking with us. Solidarity forever.